Hey, what's up? It's Tuesday. I'm Jim here for the Rough Cuts, and today I will be talking about the film The Long Riders. Now, The Long Riders is directed by Walter Hill. Walter Hill famously said about his films, every film I've done has been a Western. Walter Hill, who also directed films like 48 Hours, The Driver, which Drive is slightly loosely based on, and I reviewed on this channel previously, Warriors, Hard Times. A lot of the films Walter Hill directed are kind of Westerns. This is his first actual Western. You know, the others are kind of, you know, they use a Western structure, they're very Western-like, but they are not actual Westerns. But this is an actual Western. This film is about the James Unger gang, who, of course, Jesse James wrote for, and his brother, Frank James. It deals with the James Unger gang. It's the only, I think, real actual brothers. I'm not an expert on this whatsoever, but the only real actual brothers were Frank and Jesse James. Everyone thought they all were brothers, but apparently most of them were not. Maybe through marriage, but blood-wise, I think it was just Jesse and Frank. Regardless of that, Walter Hill decided to cast several sets of brothers. There are the Quaids. You have Dennis Quaid plays Ed Miller, and then Randy Quaid plays Cecil Miller. Then you have the Carradines. There's three of them, and even one of their kids is in it, and I think one of their daughters or nieces or something. That's not really important. David Carradine plays Cole Younger, Keith Carradine plays Jim Younger, and then Robert Carradine plays Bob Younger. Robert Carradine, the least cool of the Carradines. But then you have Jesse James and Frank James, and Jesse James is played by James Keach, and Frank James is played by Stacy Keach, who's an actor I really love. And then you also have the Guest brothers, yes, Christopher Guest, who plays Charlie Ford, and Robert Ford, who's played by Nicholas Guest, who I've never really heard of. The Keach brothers also actually wrote the film. This takes a depiction of the James Younger gang kind of when things are declining, they're falling apart. At the beginning of the film, Jesse James gets married. They're all kind of growing up. They've been doing this for a while. I mean, we do see them rob a bank before they start to like really grow up and not be as into it, because you know, Jesse James has a family now. You know, later on in the film, there's a point where someone says they have a family, and then they get shot later. And Jesse James looks at him like, oh my God, like I have a family, I could be shot. Walter Hill's so good with ensembles. I mean, he had just directed The Warriors the year before. Kind of like late 70s Westerns. I have like a weird thing for them, because it's like post-spaghetti Western. Things are kind of falling apart. People are maturing. They're getting hunted by the police. This is post-Civil War, Reconstruction era. A lot of Westerns are a part of that, but this film kind of gets more of the attitude. It's not just like the railroad is coming. It's like time has moved on. They've been hurt by the wheels of time. To them, like robbing banks is like almost like, I feel like they're like fighting back against the Yankees, and they're really hurt and wounded by like what's happened to them. Robert Carradine's a character, Bob Unger, like comments like, you know, I didn't fight in the war, but it affected me so much, and what big of a mark the Civil War left on America, and it felt like maybe it was capturing part of America in that time period. He shows stories of the other characters, particularly David Carradine's character, Cole Unger. It shows stuff about him in this whore he's into, who, like, I don't know, their relationship's really funny, because she would say something like, why don't you give me enough respect, or like, why did you invite me to this party? And he goes, because you're a whore. There's this one sequence towards the end that, like, the gunfight starts off, it's an amazingly cut sequence, but then it takes this dark turn and becomes like very surreal and bizarre and like really cool and really smart. So if you have seen The Long Riders and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments, and subscribe to the Rough Cuts if you haven't already. Subscribe to my main channel in the info box below. Follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, and potentially VHX, and follow Earl Barrett Holloway's Tumblr, who does the picture at the beginning and the end of this video. And thank you very much. Whoa.